It's doing it again. Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Allykatkreations. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you get anything from my work, a connected an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, artwork, all the links are under this video, how you can help me and keep me going. AllyKatzkreations211.com. You can find skulls, pyramids, artwork, paintings, all kinds of fun stuff, candles. So if you're interested, they're cost-effective. Things are going up in price. I'm trying to keep mine where they are because I want people to have the healing and the enjoyment of something that can bring them happiness. So that's the goal. So if you're interested, please check out my website. It is not something to buy from. It's just a portfolio. My email is in the links down below in the description so that you can email me and let me know if you like anything you see. Hi, everybody. I was going to do quantum AI and metaphysical ponderings, but upstairs decided that that wasn't for today. And Beyond Good and Evil is. Trusty coffee. I had a very bad night. Morgan isn't doing that well. I mean, she hasn't been doing that well. Kidney failure. But like you can see that she's noticeably losing a lot of weight. She's like very scratching my walls like a chalkboard, that she's uncomfortable. I'm trying to make her as comfy, cozy as possible. I don't want to have to put her down because she still has life in her. She's still eating, going to the bathroom. So I just have to bear with it. But she kept me up all night. And so did the boyfriend via text messaging all night. Yeah. Before I begin this, Beyond Good and Evil, we've been brought through a journey with Nietzsche, with the Hermit's Journey, and Beyond Good and Evil. And the book I'm currently reading, Preparing for First Contact by Suzanne Lai, re-listening to a lot of Brian Scott with Quo and the Law of One, the downloads, the connect the dots, the epiphanies that I'm having are, and I'm getting another right now, are mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. In order to raise your consciousness, we must now think about the illusion that we live in, the hologram that we are being projected through. We are light. I've been saying it for a long time. We are bound by ontological mathematics, and we are bound by a simulated matrix via hologram. I've been saying this. And a lot of the books that I've been reading have been confirming all those things. It's a struggle to wrap your mind around it and understand through your five senses, and some of us have six, to actually like, well, this is a material matter. I'm feeling it, I'm experiencing it, but yet it's a hologram. Chemical. We are bound by things that we don't quite can wrap our head around or even comprehend. And that's okay, as long as you get the awareness of that it is in existence. When I'm reading the Beyond Good and Evil, we have to start merging our mindsets and our minds to the higher density dimensional thinking in order for this shift to come about faster. We are sadly living in a time space. I'm choosing now not to live in time space as much. Obviously, my daily life is dictated by the hologram, the light, the sun, the darkness, but I'm not really looking at time anymore. I go with the flow. I try to be as present in the moment as possible. I'm trying not to think about my past. I think about it as in it's all experience and catalysts that got me here. I'm disassociating it with time space. Not easy. I have really limited my mind to listening to people who are spreading hate. And those are people that I love very much. But I stopped listening to hate because it's just a separation of source. Yes, we need to understand and comprehend. Even Nietzsche does it in this book. It's showing you that both sides are very much necessary and needed for us to learn from. Both sides of the coin. If we didn't have bad experiences, we wouldn't gain any wisdom or knowledge to supersede and overcome these challenges that we place for ourselves. It's a movie. Are you the main character in your movie, or is other people being the characters that are playing your role for you? I've been listening to Brian Scott with the Law of One talking about graduation, which is the ascension, moving up in density and dimensions. In order for us to individually do that, a lot of us are on that pathway. We're working at it. We're doing it every day. It's not a one and done kind of thing where you glimpse beyond the veil, you see it, but you're not quite there yet, because we collectively as a unity consciousness need to manifest it, bring it into this hologram. It's there, it's created. We just have to formulate it mathematically, energetically, to bring it here in time space. Are you ready to do that? I fear to say not yet. People are still wrapped up into illusionary things. And yes, we are bound by illusory. We're bound by it. We're here. Even if I choose not to serve the past or the illusion, I still have 3D needs and I still have 3D concerns that dictate my everyday life. And the fact of the matter is, bills still have to be paid. If I don't pay them, the lights don't go on, the heat isn't on, the air conditioning doesn't come on. These are just simplistic things in everyday life that we need to service. Even if they are illusory, they still need to be there as a function of our survival. We got to look past the hate. We have to come into unity. We have to understand everything is God and is source, whatever you would like to call it, name it, put a label on it. We all need there. We all need to get there. Those of us who have incarnated as volunteers, wanderers, and starseeds, we knew we had a mission. The veil is now lifting for us to start seeing slowly the unfoldment of our missions. I've always had my veil semi-lifted in certain areas of my life that I was able to see what my missions are, the quests that I need to go on in order to graduate without having harder density lessons further on and down the road. I chose to have a very difficult life in order for my other selves and other lives to be healed and to move forward without complication. I chose the complication to happen here. Many of us did the same. And now we're at the junction of, we're in the energy space where the outside world is going to be, and it already is chaotic. Life has been becoming more and more difficult. And it's about how you're reacting to it and your mindset that will get you forward. What will keep you stuck is the illusory beyond seeing good and evil. It's seeing that there is good and evil and dealing with it and going to neutrality and not paying any mind to it. Stop separating yourself from other selves, which is everybody around you is your other self. Once we realize these things, we can shift unity and more people's consciousness. That's why I'm here. I'm here. That's my role, my mission. One of many, to help you guys understand where we are at, how you are going to start steering your mind past the illusion. Yes, there is evil, and yes, there is good here in this perception. When you think on higher dimensionalities, it kind of blurs away. You kind of stop fixating on, oh, this is the movement and this is what it stands for. You know what my mission stands for? Getting out of that diluted sense of, oh, well, it's all for this and all for that. There's much more at stake. It's about shifting the whole planet positive, because it's bound by the law of nature. It is bound by polarity. Once you can depolarize yourself, you're feeding Gaia in a positive sense, and she's going to merge. She already is in fourth density. We just have to meet her standards, her energy, her vibratory state of frequency to meet it. But we're the ones that help her shift higher. Everybody talks about 5-dimensional economy, the 5D economy. Guess what? There is no such fucking thing. Sorry to those of you who bought into certain people's service to self's agenda. I mean, this is more of like a rant and a Beyond Good and Evil talk. Don't mind me. There is no economy in 5D. There's unity. There's compassion. And there is something called manifestation. So what you need is manifested. You still have to work. It's just in a different way. We're slowly in transition to 4. We're slowly, as a collective, individually, many of us are already on the upper octave of 4, viewing 5. Many of us are there already. It's physically, our bodies are still transitioning. It is still transmuting. It is still going through the process of purging. This is why a lot of people are angry or having the past. We're still in Mercury retrograde. Yesterday, I went out and my batteries that I know I charged for my lawnmower, because I like the electric, guess what? They stopped working halfway through. And then I was like, by the time I got done with that, my weed whacker, the line that weed whacks, it just disappeared somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. So I'm like, okay, I'm done today. Whatever. We have to know that we are still upgrading our physical vehicles. We're still going through things. Now, Ross says that most of us have to die in order to transcend and graduate to 4, 5, possibly. I don't know if that's true anymore. Again, time, space, timelines have shifted since the Law of One was written in 1980s. Things have shifted. The ideas have shifted. The experiment has gone on to a different timeline. Timelines individually are always forever in flux, but they're in more an intense flux right now. because you have choices to make. Are you going for your best and highest, which doesn't infinitely end, or are you just going to stay stalemate because you can't handle it anymore? This is up to you. I don't make that decision for you. You've got to impart that each and every day is a test. It's trials and tribulations. I know I've been going through it the last 2 weeks since my birthday and since the coming before my birthday. I knew that things were going to be intense. Oh, hell effing yeah, it has. Not in the best ways. I had a great time. I had some relaxation, but a lot of stress. But I'm not, thankfully I'm still gray. But things needed to be addressed. Mercury retrograde stuff. So now that I am sort of dealing with all of that, things are getting nerve-wracking again financially for me. I'm still waiting on a job to tell me if I got it or not. I think that's kind of unfair to think that I put in an application and it's taking weeks to tell me if I got it. When am I starting? Am I being hired? Because you're holding me, you're holding my life up by, I could get another job or I can start looking again. I put my faith into the universe, but these are real deal third density shit that I gotta wing and hold on to. As life continuously happens each and every day, each and every one of us has a job to do, and it's to hold the frequency. It's to hold the light. It's also to be opened enough to receive the light and ground it into Mother Earth. We want to experience amazement. You can't do that when your mind is limited and full of hate. You can't do that when you're feeding and creating the reality for that other polarity and not yours. If we don't consciously unite together in similarities, not everybody's going to have the same way of looking at things. Everybody perceives differently. We all have commonalities that bring us together in thought. We need to recognize such things, and we need to stop narrowing down our projections of ego. Ego is still necessary, I believe, in my perspective. It helps us navigate still this density that we are physically in. It's how you use it. It's how you're projecting it to others. We all as a collective need to start pushing the envelope further in our thinking and changing those limited beliefs. You don't have to align with something to hear it and to think about it. Expand on it. There's a lot of things I don't agree with in a lot of the books that I read, but once I have I keep that perspective opened. And as I keep it opened, connect the dots do happen, even if it's something I don't resonate. So the other day I was listening to Brian Scott talk about Meldeck. That is what we illusory seeing as a Kuiper belt. A Waspy talks about how some of the gods, the false ones, were sent to Hada or Horde, that they were all knotted up in energy. As soon as Brian Scott said the word knot, and how a lot of these entities were on different planets, blew itself up, were knotted together in energy, and now had to go back to third density Earth to play out the wrongs that happened on Meldeck. Ding, 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 ding. Connect the dot, connect the nut, connect the dot. What they're talking about, where these false gods went, they could call it whatever they want to call it. It was Meldeck. Their energy got trapped and knotted. That heavenly place or hellish place that they went to, from my estimation, well, sounds like Meldeck. Now, I don't subscribe to the Awaspe book. Certain things there are a little distorted, but it's a perceived book. It's a perceived book by the Anunnaki. It's their perception of how we became and all the different things. The Orion group, the Law of One, talks about how they're space pirates. Space pirates. Urantia book, space pirates. It's not everything that they're saying is wrong. It's just from their perspective. There's things I align with in terms of how things happened in both books, but I don't align with it in a totality type sense. We really need to grasp where we're headed. And that's hard because we don't really know where we're headed, because that's up to all of us to shift frequency, vibration, and thought. And a lot of people are very much stuck in old thinking and patterns and programs and indoctrination and things that they don't even know that they haven't healed yet, or they are not aware that they're in a program. The idea that, you know, people are still with the wood chippers and the blue button people, and these people are bad, and these people did this to us, and but we wrote the fucking story together. So who's evil? It's an illusion. We create demons with our minds, and then they physically manifest all the negative energy that knots together, manifests, and does do physical harm. Not saying it doesn't, but we create them. What does it matter if an angel is fallen? We all fell into material world. As soon as you got away from source, you fell. Why are you using a word that has a negative connotation, but really isn't? That would mean we're all evil, but we are all both good and evil. Remember, you are the devil in someone's story. You have an evil side to you. Or have you acknowledged it yet? Do you see it? Do you see how you talk to others? Do you see the selfishness that is in? We all have certain aspects of ourselves that are selfish, that have egotistical undertones to it. You might not want to say that you're projecting ego, but when your conversations are, oh, how are you doing? Person tells you how they're doing, you automatically go straight to your shit and how great you feel without acknowledging the other person might not feel that great. And you're just dismissing it. We got to balance out ourselves. This is why I read this book, and there's still a little bit more to go with this book. Nietzsche is showing us the balance, the good and the evil. It's kind of hard to disseminate where he's projecting the good and the bad, but you get a sense that we both have those natures within us, and that we need to balance those things out. We still need our good and evil to be here, to choose on an every moment basis What are we projecting out into our outer existence? Are you considering others' feelings and thoughts? Yes, truth sucks. It hurts. The fact of the matter is, a lot of people can't handle what I am saying because they're still in a program that they can't merge themselves out of just yet. What do you mean, Allison? Well, the children, well, the this, well, the that. It's an illusion. We signed up. If you see that you made your contract with Source and you're playing a specific role, you're the housewife, you're the house person, man, you're the worker, you're the provider of your family. It's a program you wrote for yourself. You wrote that you're going to get into an accident, have a health issue, have kids or not have kids. You all wrote these things into your script, and so did all the other people who chose to have deaths. They're not the greatest. It's all a test. Stop personalizing and stop emoting emotional states to things that have nothing to do with you. If these things never happened, we wouldn't know about them. If they didn't come to the light from the darkness, we wouldn't have been able to see it. We would have still been ignorantly in our program, being programmed in some form or another to a negative polarized entity or a complex of them. It's time to really sift through your thoughts and to see where things are coming from. And if they are not coming from a place of compassion and love, really rework and rethink how you're going to react to that stimuli that comes into your ears and your eyes. Someone could show me a document all day. Someone could tell me and make a movie and project hate. These people are bad. They want you dead. Sure, they do. There's no bones about it. But why should I feed them that anger, that frustration? Because that's what they eat. I don't pay no mind to it anymore. I don't listen to it anymore. I'm proof that not all people in a specific religion are bad, even though I don't practice and never have practiced religion. My family has. They're not evil people. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So why say kill them all or get them out of here? You would be tearing my family apart if that was the case. If I don't talk to half of my family, I still have family I talk to. So you're telling me that because my last name is a certain genre of a blue button type, that I should be removed? Or others? Do you hate me because of that? That I can help that. I'm here to help you open in your awareness to these things. Not all are bad. And when you jump on a bandwagon and you put out blank comments because you're going along with the fold, even though I work with the fold, I don't subscribe to the fold. I don't listen. I mute and do other things. It's not because I don't love the people. They just don't want to listen to me, and they're not ready yet to make the changes that they need in order to shift their consciousness to the understanding of illusion and to understanding that they've been programmed. I'm not separate anymore from my other selves. I'm not separate from the people that I used to hate. I don't hate anymore. I give God's creation love and light and the understanding. And now we're going to start the book. And just to note, it's April 20th and it was 37 degrees this morning. So I have a heater under on my desk and I have my heater on, so my sweater is making me hot. You don't ever know how to dress around here. It's annoying to say the least. It's currently 46 degrees, April 20th. Thank goodness I did not build my new gardeners, my raised beds, or put any seeds in the ground just yet. That's going to be fun. So this is our virtues. And with this book, I do skip around certain paragraphs that really have nothing to apply. So if I do take a little pause, I'm just reading to see if it's something that we can, get something out of. The historical sense, or the capacity for quickly guessing the order of rank of the valuations according to which a people, a society, a human being has lived. The divinatory instinct for the relations of these valuations, for the relation of the authority of values to the authority of active forces. This historical sense, to which we Europeans lay claim as our specialty, has come to us in the wake of the enchanting and mad semi-barbarism into which Europe had been plunged by the democratic mingling of classes and races. Only the 19th century knows this sense as its sixth sense. The past of every form and way of life, of cultures that formerly lay right next to each other, or one on top of the other, now flows into us modern souls. Thanks to the mixture, our instincts now run back everywhere. We ourselves are a kind of chaos. Finally, as already mentioned, the spirit sees its advantage in this. Remember the time that he has lived in, and the changing of a cycle has happened in multiple cycles have happened where the dawning of a new age and a new era has occurred. He was also in a very similar sense like us, where things were becoming modernized, things were starting to form, wars are breaking out. And even though he was European, we could still take a lot away from this. Through our semi-barbarism in body and desires, we have secret access in all directions, as no noble age ever did, above all, access to the labyrinths of unfinished cultures and to every semi-barbarism that ever existed on Earth. And insofar as the most considerable part of human culture so far was semi-barbarism, historical sense, almost means the sense and instinct for everything, the taste and tongue for everything, which immediately proves it to be an ignoble sense. We enjoy Homer again, for example. Perhaps it is our most fortunate advantage that we know how to relish Homer, whom the men of a noble culture, say the French of the 17th century, like Saint Evremond, who reproached him for his esprit vaste, and even their afterglow, Voltaire, cannot and could not assimilate so easily, whom to enjoy they sacredly permitted themselves. The very definite yes and no of their palate, their essay nausea, their hesitant reserve toward everything foreign, their horror of the poor taste, even of a lively curiosity, and altogether the reluctance of every noble and self-sufficient culture to own a new desire, a dissatisfaction with what is one's own, and admiration for what is foreign. All this inclines and disposes them unfavorably even against the best things in the world, which are not theirs or could not become their prey. No sense is more incomprehensible for such people than the historical sense and its submissive plebeian curiosity. As men of the historical sense, we also have virtues that cannot be denied. We are unpretentious, selfless, modest, courageous, full of self-overcoming, full of devotion. very grateful, very patient, very accommodating. But for all that we are, perhaps not paragons of good taste. Let us finally own it to ourselves that we men of the historical sense find most difficult to grasp, to feel, to taste once more, to love once more. What at bottom finds us prejudiced and almost hostile is precisely the perfection and ultimate maturity of every culture and art. That which is really noble in a work of a human being, the moment when their sea is smoothed and that they found halcyon, self-sufficiency, the golden and cold aspect of all things that have consummated themselves. Perhaps our great virtue of the historical sense is necessarily opposite to good taste, at least to the very best taste and precisely the highest little strokes of luck and transfigurations of human life that briefly light up here and there. We can recapture only poorly, hesitantly, by forcing ourselves those moments and marvels when great power voluntarily stopped this side of the immeasurable and boundless, when an excess of subtle delight in sudden restraint and petrification in standing firm and taking one's measure was enjoyed on still trembling ground. Measure is alien to us. Let us own it. Our thrill is the thrill of the infinite, the unmeasured. Like a rider on a steed that flies forward, we drop the reins before the infinite. We, modern men, like semi-barbarisms, and search and reach our bliss only where we are most in danger. Just like 9/11, I made this analogy a while ago. When faced with a cataclysm, in a danger, in collapse, does the best in humans come out? That day, when I witnessed the collapse, when I was in it to win it, like in the moment, you saw people become so selfless, they ran towards danger. They weren't asking what your last name was. They weren't asking what culture you come from, because New York is a melting pot of all melting pots. There's no way you can know who's mixed with what. It doesn't matter. At the moment of danger, you are going to pull a human, another self, out of danger. You're going to do your best to help an injured person, regardless of their acts or deeds, because you don't even know. You're just running in the moment doing. You're not thinking. You're not asking for passports. You're not asking for a license to know if they're not here legally. You're going and doing because you're the right person for the job. You are the human being without limitations. You're selfless. You're doing your mission. In those bad moments of danger is when the best of you comes out. That really determines if you are a service for others or a service for self, a self-sacrifice. You don't die. You transform. Your energy doesn't die. It's always in constant motion. It's always in flux. It's always moving, vibrating, frequenting, expanding. If anything, from our historical past, where we all need to really comprehend is that we are really in danger. And the danger is, where do we want our world to be and go and shift into? That is what is being fought over. And that is also an illusion. The war has already played out and it ends in fifth dimension. There is no warring anymore because it's an illusion. There is no good and evil. Those who need to have that experience in the evil is because that's what they signed up to have with Source. It's a catalyst for us to wake the fuck up. They caused our catalyst. They caused the awakening. If anything, we need to thank them, even if they did horrible, 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 heinous shit. You wouldn't be aware and awake as where you are on that vibratory scale doesn't matter. As long as you are aware that there's something wrong, that things don't seem right. You are awake to a point. Now, those of you who claim your awakeness, how far are you in the scale of awakeness? It's just like the scale that measures energy, like love being a frequency of 700, authenticity being the highest. We have scales for everything. Us humans are limited in understanding and comprehending bigger totality truths. So where are you on that scale? Just because you claim your awakeness doesn't mean you're fully in totality awake, and none of us really are. It's an illusion too. But you can't claim something and be so limited in your thinking and not have the expansion there. It's all a lesson. It's all emotional ties that makes us human. So when you detach your emotional states of things, you see things for how they are and the lessons that God came here to help us see, the better it is to make our decisions to shift our reactions in order to feed the right frequency and energy in order for us to merge forward. If we keep looping in a cycle of, oh, they did this, they did this, they did this, they did this, and we're not moving, okay, so how do we get it to not happen anymore? It's up to you and your reactions to stop feeding it. The more of us that stops feeding this loop, this cycle that keeps continuously being fed into, the better. And that's just my perspective. I don't want to see children hurt. I don't want to see the things that are going on in the world, but that chaos is being created from us. When we understand how energy actually functions from our will to power into manifestation, if you keep thinking negatively, if you keep being in fear, that fear is feeding them. It's not feeding the future that you want to project. You're anxious. We all are to an extent because this world is very unfair and it's unbalanced. How do we bring it into balance? You change your reactions in the way you think. How do you cut the serpent's head off? And not all serpents are bad. Stop feeding it. It dies out. It gets out of your reality. You're no longer feeding that reality that is trying to be manifested. When you are frequenting a higher form of thinking, of awareness, understanding how God operates in this realm, you stop feeding the shit and you stop reacting to it. Your life tends to get a little better. You still wrote the catalyst in there. Things are not just going to be daisies and roses and sparkle farts and beauty. It's not. It's when you surrender to the fact that it's up to you. And if more of us collectively do it, things shift quicker because it's going to manifest. It's not manifesting for them. It's going to start manifesting for us. I'm going to go for it. I'm going for it. Whether it is hedonism or pessimism or utilitarianism or Eurodemonism, All these ways of thinking that measure the value of things in accordance with pleasure and pain, which are mere epiphenomena and wholly secondary, or ways of thinking that stay in the foreground, and naivetes on which everyone's conscious of creative powers and an artistic conscience will look down, not without derision, nor without pity. Pity with you, that of course is not pity in your sense. It is not pity with social distress, with society, and is sick and unfortunate members, with those addicted to vice and maim from the start. Though the ground around us is littered with them, it is even less pity with grumbling, sorely pressed, rebellious slave strata who long for dominion, calling it freedom. Our pity is a higher and more far-sighted pity. We see how man makes himself smaller, how you make him smaller. And there are moments when we behold your very pity with indescribable anxiety. When we resist this pity, when we find your seriousness more dangerous than any frivolity, you will want, if possible, and there is no more insane, if possible, to abolish suffering. And it really seems that we would rather have it higher and worse than ever. Well-being, as you understand it, that is no goal. That seems to us an end, a state that soon makes man ridiculous and contemptible, that makes his destruction desirable. The discipline of suffering, of great suffering, do you not know that only this discipline has created all enhancements of man so far? The tension of the soul in unhappiness, which cultivates its strength, it shudders face to face with great ruin, its inventiveness and courage in enduring, persevering, interpreting, and exploiting suffering, and whatever has been granted to it of profundity, secret, mask, spirit, cunning, greatness, was it not granted to it through suffering, through the discipline of great suffering? In man, creature and creator are united. In man, there is material, fragment, excess, clay, dirt, nonsense, chaos. But in man, there is also creator, form, giver, hammer, hardness, spectator, divinity, and seventh day. Do you understand this contrast? And that your pity is for the creator in man. For what must be formed, broken, forged, torn, burnt, made incandescent, and purified, that which necessarily must and should suffer. And our pity do you not comprehend, for whom our converse pity is when it resists your pity as the worst of all pamperings and weakness. Thus it is pity versus pity. But to say it once more, there are higher problems than all problems of pleasure, pain, and pity, and every philosophy that stops with them is a naivete. Naivete. There we go. I know, I picked the good ones out for this. Third density, third dimension is where we chose to have suffering in order for us to gain the wisdom and knowledge of understanding a higher fraction of the sum total of the infinitude that we exist in. This is just this realm, this density. For higher density beings do not pity, they correlate our suffering, they understand it. Many of them have been human, get it, that shit sucks. But without the suffering, without the awareness of the emotional states that we exhibit, suffering is necessary. That's the mechanism in which we chose to learn from. So death, dying, accidents, disease, all of such, when you stop pitying yourself and empower yourself to be a teacher, to guide others, to be in your power, standing still and going, okay, I got this. You're persevering through shit that would have killed you otherwise. Honor it. Many of us have suffered hells upon hells, many different lifetimes, have gone through horrible shit. We just don't remember. And the remembering we have of this life, many of us know how hard it already has been collectively. What are we learning from it? Are you giving up? Or are you persevering through this shit that you wrote for yourself? Mental gymnastics, learn to flip and land that beam. You're on the beam. The vault, that's a whole nother story. You're on the balance beam. And you got some tricks and you got some hard moves to land. Sometimes we wobble on that board. Sometimes we land it succinctly. It's up to you how to mentally prepare for that flip and how to land with both feet on that beam. This is life. It's just a test. This is school. When you can detach your emotional states to that fact, take the pity out of it, it's all experience. When you understand we all wrote experiences for ourselves, we stop pitying and we feed positivity, we feed the strength, the love, the compassion, the grace, we'll all start being way better for it. And we will all start shifting to a higher frequency of thinking and realms of life. It's up to you. And that was very beautifully put by Friedrich. We immoralists, this world that concerns us, in which we fear and love. This almost invisible and inaudible world, a subtle, commanding, and subject obeying. In every way, a world of the almost, involved, captious, piqued, and tender indeed. It is defended well against clumsy spectators and familiar curiosity. We have been spun into a severe yarn and shirt of duties and cannot get out of that. And in this, we are men of duty. We too, occasionally, that is true, we dance in our chains and between our swords. More often that it is no less true, we garnish our teeth and feel impatient with all that secret hardness of our destiny. But we can do what we like. The dolts of appearance speaks against us, saying, these are men without duty. We always have the dolts and appearances against us. Something to ponder there. Honesty. Supposing that this is our virtue from which we cannot get away. We free spirits, well, let us work on it with all our malice and love, and not worry of perfecting ourselves in our virtue, the only one left, us. May its splendor remain spread out one day like a gilded blue mocking evening light over the aging culture and its musty and gloomy seriousness. And if our honesty should nevertheless grow weary one day and sigh and stretch its limbs and find us too hard and would like to have things better, easier, tenderer, like an agreeable vice, let us remain hard. We last stoics. And let us dispatch to her assistance whatever we have in us of deviltry, our disgust with what is clumsy and approximate, our adventurous courage, our seasoned and choosy curiosity, our subtlest, most disguised, most spiritual will to power in overcoming of the world that flies and flutters, covertlessly around all the realms of the future. Let us come to the assistance of our God with all our devils. It is probable that we shall be misunderstood and mistaken for others on this account. What matter? And even if they were right, have not all gods so far been such devils who become holy and been rebaptized? And what ultimately do we know of ourselves and how the spirit that leads us would like to be called? It is a matter of names and how many spirits we harbor. Our honesty, we free spirits, let us see to it that it does not become our vanity, our finery and pumped, our limit, our stupidity. Every virtue inclines towards stupidity, every stupidity towards virtue. Stupid to the point of holiness. They say in Russia, let us see to it that out of honesty we do not finally become saints and bores. Is not life 100 times too short for boredom? One really would have to believe in eternal life too. We are both good and evil. What do you want to become? Which side? Because sides start merging together and they blur in higher densities. Fifth dimension is androgynous. It is all encompassing. It is all one. We are all one. We're separated here. And once you understand the concept of merging your aspects, depolarizing yourself, can't be done here. That's not a possibility in this dimension. In the higher dimension, we're going to start the merge to all selves uniting. Many of us have already started this process of merging our other selves with our totality in this body. It's an unfoldment. This doesn't happen in a snap. You would combust. It's a lot of energy hitting us right now. There's a lot going on in the world that if you keep feeding the bullshit, it's going to continue to stir. There's a lot of karma that has to unfold. In order for Earth to purge, we are purging our physical bodies. We are not sleeping properly. I know I haven't the last couple of days, whether it be my cat or not. I'm still not sleeping a full 8 hours, and I probably never really have in my life. I'm usually a 4 to 5 hour sleeper, and I'm okay to function with coffee. But we got to notice and take into account that things just don't happen in a snap. We are starting to see faster manifestation happen within certain things and concepts and will to power. Certain things are happening for people, not instantaneously, but close to it. But when we all come together and start thinking on similar terms, it doesn't need to be exact. We want peace, prosperity, and harmony. Those are really broad and very vast concepts of what perception peace means to you. But common peace means no shit. Everybody's kind of co-mingling together. There is differences, but everybody's in a harmonious state. Compromise can be made. People work together in unity and in harmony. This is the goal that we need to achieve in order to start seeing things manifest to the positive polarity in which we are shifting to. There's enough of us now aware of what we are who are helping this shift happen. Many of us are the ones who are helping other selves wake up to the concepts of higher level thinking to get us to this state where if we all start taking moments of our day and enjoying nature and feeding the positivity that needs to happen for this shift to happen, more of us doing it, more of us manifest, the quicker it comes. You have to understand what the programming is, what is being programmed into your mind. And it could be from positive polarized entities, not aware that they have an agenda. They're being puppeted. When we seek to understand a bigger, broader picture, when we analyze and pick apart these elements that is our reality that we see consciously, the better awareness will it be for you to discover more about yourself, where you fit into the fold, and how you can change your destiny. You wrote it. It's just on a timeline that you have yet to achieve. We wrote all of our stories. There's billions of possibilities and potentialities that you could choose from. You wrote all of them. It's where is your frequency to meet that timeline so that you can enter that timeline, that you can evolve into that space of awareness to live a more fruitful life, integrating other aspects of yourself in the meantime. Will to power, not just for yourself, but for other people. It's a big task. A lot of us are almost there in that understanding to do the work, to manifest these things. The last few days for me, I've been trying to sit more in silence without anything and just quieting my mind down. As crazy and as busy as my schedule is, and how many people reach out to me on a daily basis, which is fantastic, but sometimes I need to shut it all down so I can do the work to clear the energy around me. A lot of us are under the thought form attack because they want our light. They want our ability. They don't want us to succeed. And that is a program. So how do we emerge out of this program? It's not giving attention to it anymore. We create the demons as much as we create God. It's a choice. Frequent, unconditional love and acceptance for all things. All serve a purpose. All has a purpose. Good and evil serves this purpose as an illusory aspect of a catalyst that helps us grow as a soul. If we didn't have bad things happen to us, we would never understand how to get out of it, how to persevere, how to think our way through it. It's all a test. Yes, there is emotional states that are involved in that. That's without question. Are you succeeding in merging yourself forward? Are you buying into everything that you hear? Are you allowing other people to dictate your reality? Are you going into your heart space? and I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. We need to merge with higher thinking, with the higher density thinking. That takes time. But when you do, life begins to slowly start changing for you. Your reactions to things and catalysts will change. What I once was is no longer. The way I used to react to things similar to what is happening in my life currently, I would have ran away. I would have sheltered myself. Instead of confronting it, dealing with it, and healing from it, I used to run away from a lot of things. And those are outside catalysts that have really nothing to do with me, but I'm a bystander and a witness too. And I'm there holding the light and the frequency for other people. Instead of running away from that problem, I'm confronting it now. Higher level density learning. I am more here in the now than back then. I would allow time to dictate everything for me. Instead, I'm not allowing that anymore. Yeah, we go back and I give myself compassion when it does occur. But we need to think on higher levels of awareness. And where is your awareness at? Everybody's going to be differently. The ascension is going to happen differently for each and every one of us at different times. We just can't zip in a snap. We did that already with CERN, and we saw the side effects of that. Whether that'd be a good thing or a bad thing, I think it was a good thing. I think a lot of the story being dictated to us is fake, and it's an illusion, and it's there to catalyze the rest of humanity that is asleep, for those who are still in slumber but are meant to wake up. These next couple of months to years are going to be catalysts for them, and their choice is to either wake up and acknowledge it or to keep and continue to sleep. And there's no right or wrong. Once you understand that concept, there is no right or wrong in God's realm. Are you respecting God by saying, well, no, with your little attitude? I love you guys. But when are you going to comprehend the totality of the understanding of source? We're never going to know the full picture, but here in the now, you can only interpret and understand as much as you possibly can understand of source and how it's played here. Think about a bigger, all the complexities that it takes up. Are you honoring that everything is source? The good, the bad, the ugly. Are you understanding the role that each of us play here? Many of us volunteer to be here. We already did this dance, and we did it multiple times, and we keep coming back. Some of us, the wanderers, keep coming back because it's a big risk, because we do forget. This is third dimension. You forget about everything that you have ever done until the veil drops, and then you start remembering. And that's where a lot of us are at. We're remembering. We have a knowing. We have an instinct inside of us that says we are a little different from most people. We've been treated that way our entire lives, not by accident, to help us understand the complexity of your soul. We fragmented out of source to have an experience. And many of us have come back to save those who got stuck in some shit. All is an illusion. All is source. When you can detach your emotional states to feeding energy of hate and separation and labeling, the better you are going to be moving forward. The lessons get harder in higher densities. They don't get easier. You think it's hard here? Oh no, this is nothing. Nothing. Yeah, we feel it because we have emotional states where in other densities, there's really no emotion. We're feeling it here in the animal body. We're becoming luminescent. We're shifting. Are you allowing the process to unfold organically, or are you forcing it? Are you honoring your body? Honor thyself. Honor your life. Life is precious. We YOLO here once in this vehicle. When are you going to take control of your life? When are you going to take empowerment and force it through and stand in your convictions and do what you were supposed to do here in the first place? And sometimes that is just to be and anchor the light. That is still a very, very monumentous job. It is not an easy job. None of the things that any of us do are easy. They're not meant to, because not everybody can do it. We all have gifts and abilities that us uniquely have a signature to. Again, everybody's similar in the ways and methods of how to obtain those abilities, but your unique expression of energy is different from everybody else. You have a spark of God within you that is very unique. And when you understand that and hone in that special skill that you are, and there might be multiple skills that you are, we're not limited. Focus on one, build up that skill, move on to the next one. It's taking me years, and I'm very young. I'm still very young. It's build up of years and time of investing in yourself, clearing the gunk. The last year of my life has been absolutely insane. And you could watch my videos from way back in the day, and you could see the emergence and the journey that I've taken. Exponentially, my brain has like leaps and bounds moved up. Watching and seeing the lessons, standing in my empowerment, healing from what I've had to traverse, understanding what that was. All of us can benefit from doing that. I know for myself, I have grown leaps and bounds within 1 year's time. And it's freaking crazy to think about where I was a year ago. Just started my journey here in Indiana, not knowing too many people, still putting up my house and still anchoring energies and all kinds of nonsense. I have grown within a year to a place I never thought I would ever come to. We are limitless. When I started embodying my power, embodying, living it, breathing it, and ejecting it out of me so other people can get my frequency and start getting seated. Wow. And I'm seeing the difference in the boyfriend. He gets certain things I never thought he would get. And I'm not with him that long. His children understand certain components of things because I'm waking them up. My frequency is anchoring in their lives. They're starting to remember who they are. And a lot of it is subconscious and unconscious. It's not their time yet to really delve into that world because they're starting their changes of life. They're going through their hormones. They're becoming women. They're in stages of development that are very delicate, that they need to hone in this reality. And soon they will be able to understand slowly the unfolding of their other realities and their other selves. Children, even if they are encoded for advancement, are still needing to play out the roles that they chose for this lifetime. We all have to honor those things for our own selves. We chose certain catalysts. Even if you move to a higher awareness, that doesn't mean things are still not going to happen to you, for you. You still have learning to do that never, ever ends. It's the movement, the embodiment, the going within, and understanding that you still have you still have a movie playing out in front of you, that you're the character, you're the star, that you still have to play and do certain roles. But once you are aware of these concepts and react differently, you're all the better for it. You passed your test. Shift. There is no good or evil. There's no right or wrong. That's higher dimensional thinking. It's hard. And you have to be on the seesaw of life to understand that concept. And yes, right or wrong still happens in this dimensional space. It's how you're reacting to it. You're acknowledging that something is wrong. You're reacting to it differently. You're reacting to, yeah, this feels right. It sounds right. But is it right, or is it a deception? We've been manipulated for way too long, and it's now time to be unmanipulative. We're not manipulating anymore. We're not going into ourselves and being a puppet for someone else's string. Take ownership of your life. When you do so, things tend to get better. You'll start figuring things out quicker. Things will start manifesting and falling into your lap a little easier. Everything has divine timing too. You can't force the universe for things on. Everything happens in divine accordance. So if you're meant to win the lottery, you will. If you're not meant to win the lottery, you won't. No matter how many times you play. It's up to you to will into manifestation the things that you would like. But that's something you already wrote into your timeline. You're just meeting your energy, your own energy, to find it and get on that timeline. Now let's do it together as a collective, because there's individual, there's collective, there's race, and then there's country, and then there's planet. There's a lot of levels and a lot of layers of intricacy into this. That's why we have been asked to go in and work on ourselves. So once we purge all the bullshit of the past that no longer defines us, we can move into the unity of our tribe. And when we do the tribe, we do the country. And when we do the country, we do humanity. It stair steps and layers. If enough of us can start bringing more peace and harmony into our own lives, that projects out to other people, that ripples that effect to our immediate area of where we are living. And then when that starts happening, it ripples out even further and even further and even further. But we need enough people to focus on these things collectively to start seeing and making the bigger changes and the bigger difference. So continue to do you, be your authentic self, walk in your love, spread the love, emote it out, and things will start getting better for all of us. And they sort of started, depending on what it is that you are focusing on. Let's focus all on humanity together. Really good book. I recommend this always. And I will stop there because I've been ranting for a while. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, protective, and shielding energy. Please be safe, be seen. Please like, share, and subscribe. I can't thank enough of you for joining on my channel, whether it be for Little Thor or for the content that I put out on a regular basis. So I want to thank everybody. I'm very grateful for all of you. Until the next one, guys, please enjoy your weekend. Be safe, be seen. Keep warm if you're in the Midwest. It's kind of cold over here. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.